strategies to retain information from the class. Before we get to that specific item, what's important to identify here, there's different ways of learning. And you can scroll somewhere deep in one of the episodes and find another segment that I have recorded way back in the day in regards to what are the different ways and how they break down and how you can benefit from them. But recapping that very quickly, we do have a traditional class, which is a group of people within limited time at a specific time that we learn specific things. Then we can take this a little bit deeper. We have seminars. We have private lessons, which are one-on-one with the instructor, or maybe semi-private, which is 2-on-1 or 4-on-1, whatever the case is. In addition to that, we have drilling classes. Then beyond that, we have sparring sessions. Some academies offer a flowing session, which is something in between drilling and sparring, which is not full impact, full speed sparring, but a little bit more controlled. So you have, and then obviously we have things like online services, whether it's videos or podcasts or other conversations that allow us stimulate us in a specific way when it comes to jiu-jitsu topics. Even now, you listening to this episode, you are stimulating yourself on this specific question, right? You are curious about how to retain information, and right now you are going through a learning process of hopefully making notes and figuring stuff out, right? So these are the different ways how we can learn jiu-jitsu in various positions, various different environments. But let's talk about class specifically. The trick about classes is that, for one, they are limited as far as time is concerned. So you take the warm-up away, there might be positional training or sparring session at the end, you remove that. Typically there's 1, 2, or 3 techniques shown during the class, and that fills up anywhere between 20 to 40 minutes of the class, right? So, this productive time of you learning information is narrowed down to, let's just hypothetically say, half hour. So within that half hour, you will learn specific motions, specific transitions, specific techniques explained by instructor. And even if the techniques are phenomenal, even if the instruction is phenomenal, we are dealing with something that's really challenging for us. One, we have to translate the information and feed it into our own brain. So visually and from auditory perspective, we will hear and see whatever the instructor is doing, and then when the time comes, we go back with our partners and trying to replicate what we learned. Right. Repeating those steps and repeating those motions, especially if this is the very first time you're seeing them, sometimes is not so easy. This is when we make mistakes. And by repeating those motions, we are hoping that they will seal in more and more and more, with the hope of us coming back to another class and another class and another class multiple times a week, that we can seal the same motion over and over by repetition. And in theory, that's a phenomenal plan. And in theory, there's a phenomenal platform to learn. The challenge comes in, we miss things and we forget about things. So even if the instructor will show without any doubt, phenomenal way of presentation, phenomenal articulation, all the details are right in front of you. By the time it gets to you, we miss things. By the time we repeat a few times, we miss things. Then we come back another day, we forgot things and we missed even more things. So it's like this, there's this vicious circle. So how can we retain the information? How can we maximize what we are learning? First of all, ask questions. If you're not sure, ask questions. Most instructors will answer the questions, and if they don't, honestly, well, perhaps, I don't know. That's a tough one. But you should ask questions. You need to understand how things work. Think about them mechanically, not just memorize the steps. Understand how things work. That's one. Two, do research. Look how others do it. See how your partner is reacting to it. See how your partner is doing. Don't just be a dead fish and repeat the steps and repeat. No, try to comprehend of what is happening around you. And next point, this is important. I'm a huge fan of notes. Take notes. You don't have to write down step by step what instructor taught you. Find out the key components. Write down the key components. Write down the common denominators. Write down the key words, because those will be associated with the motions that you are doing on a mat. And the next day or week later or a month later, you can easily refer to those notes and say, yes, I remember that this was important. I highlighted this for a reason. So those are the main things. And then from a practice perspective, obviously more time you have on the mat, more efficiency you will create and more successful you will be as far as retention of the information. So I encourage you to actually get back on the mat. You don't have to train hard, but what's important that you repeat the steps. Another underestimated platform is videos. Right after a class, go watch the video of your instructor. Most academies today have online instructors or online instructionals, online systems where you can review the techniques. Go and see it. Even if the techniques are slightly different, you can memorize it. It stimulates your brain and allows you to remember them. Here's a big one, often not done by students. Watch the video before the class. Find out, if you have an opportunity to find out what will be taught in a class, watch a video before the class. And this is why it's important. When you walk into the class without knowing what the instructor will be teaching, you're walking into a pitch dark room. You don't even know what you're tripping over as you're walking across the room. Now, the moment you watch the video and you know what to anticipate, now the room is no longer pitch dark. It's still dark. It's still items all over everywhere, and you still might trip, but think about it like you can see a little bit. You can at least see the direction in which you are going, and that is what will help you, not only to get ready, not only to memorize things easier, but from a comprehension perspective, you're going to be able to see things as they are happening. There is no more element of surprise. Your success definitely has gone up. So, a lot of information in this segment. Take advantage of all of this. Listen to this one more time. I was sharing a lot of details here, but listen, the point is, if you forget things after a class, well, you forgot. It's over. So setting yourself for success, it is a critical component as you continue going through the Jiu-Jitsu, simply because Jiu-Jitsu is complex, and it will continue getting complex as you continue exploring it. Peace.